What if I told you that truth, the thing we all strive for, the thing we think is so concrete and unchanging, isn't really what we've been led to believe? What if I told you that truth is more like clay, constantly evolving, constantly adapting to new experiences and new perspectives? Yeah, I know. It sounds a little controversial, right? But here's the thing. We've been taught to look for one absolute, one perfect truth, when in reality, truth is dynamic and practical. It shifts, it changes, and it's meant to help us make better decisions, not lock us into a rigid box. Now, before you jump to conclusions, hear me out. In this video, I'm going to break down how embracing and evolving truth can actually empower you, giving you the freedom to make choices that work for you in real, tangible ways. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you'll have a whole new perspective on how to use truth as a tool, not a constraint. Let's dive in, because the truth you think you know, it's just the beginning. Number 1, lie to learn. Let's get one thing straight. Lying is bad, right? We've all been told that since we were kids. Honesty is the best policy. But what if I told you that sometimes a well-placed lie could actually make you smarter? Stay with me on this, because I'm not talking about deception for manipulation. I'm talking about lying as a tool for learning. Now, you might be thinking, wait, what? You want me to start making things up? Well, kind of, but not in the way you think. We've all been in situations where someone is passionately talking about a topic we sort of understand, but not entirely. Maybe it's a work meeting, maybe it's a deep philosophical debate, or maybe it's just that one friend who always seems to know everything. And instead of admitting, I have no idea what you're talking about, you nod along, pretending you get it. Sound familiar? We've all been there. And here's where the magic happens. Instead of just faking comprehension, take it one step further. Contribute to the conversation with a confident but slightly speculative statement. Watch what happens next. If you're wrong, people will instinctively correct you, filling in the gaps of your knowledge. If you're right, well, congratulations, you just backed into wisdom. I remember pulling this off at work once. A colleague was passionately explaining a complex marketing strategy, and honestly, I was about 3 sentences away from zoning out completely. Instead of admitting defeat, I threw in, "Oh yeah, isn't that similar to the strategy Tesla used when they limited their Model 3 pre-orders?" Now, I had no idea if Tesla had done that. But guess what? Instead of calling me out, he paused, thought for a second, and said, "Actually, kind of. But Tesla's approach was more about controlled scarcity than pre-order limits." Boom. Now, I actually understood the strategy. And all it took was one confident, slightly reckless guess. See, when you present information, even if it's slightly off, people love to correct or expand on it. It's how debates work. It's how experts show off their knowledge. And when you create that opening, you're basically inviting real-time education. The trick is to do this with curiosity, not arrogance. You're not trying to fool anyone. You're just nudging the conversation in a way that helps you absorb more information. This isn't about spreading misinformation or lying for gain. It's about using strategic engagement to pull knowledge from the world around you. Instead of waiting for someone to teach you, you provoke the lesson yourself. And the best part? The more you do it, the better you get at spotting patterns, making connections, and confidently holding your own in any conversation. So, next time you're caught in a discussion where you feel a little lost, don't just stay quiet or tune out. Take a calculated risk. Make an educated guess. Throw out a well-crafted half-truth and see what happens. Because in a world where knowledge is power, sometimes a tiny lie is the quickest way to learn the truth. Number 2, bend ethics, test reality. Let's talk about ethics. We love to think of them as these rock-solid, unshakable rules that define right and wrong. But here's a little secret. Ethics are a lot more flexible than we like to admit. And whether we realize it or not, we bend them all the time. Now, before you clutch your moral compass like a life raft, hear me out. I'm not saying you should turn into some shady, rule-breaking mastermind. What I am saying is that testing the edges of ethics is often the only way to truly understand them. Think about it. Have you ever exaggerated a little in a job interview to make yourself sound more qualified? Or maybe you've forgotten to mention a small mistake because, well, it wasn't that important? We've all done something like this, and guess what? The world didn't end. That's because ethics, much like reality itself, are not always black and white. They bend, and sometimes they need to. Now, you might be thinking, wait, are you telling me to be dishonest? No, not exactly. What I'm saying is that reality doesn't reward rigid rule followers. It rewards those who understand the rules well enough to navigate them intelligently. And sometimes that means strategically pushing boundaries. Not in a reckless, harmful way, but in a way that forces you to see where the lines really are. I once tested this at work. A strict policy said that no project deadline could be extended under any circumstance. No exceptions. Now, I knew that was unrealistic. There's always an exception. But nobody dared challenge it. So I decided to bend the rule just a little. Instead of outright asking for an extension, I reframed it. I emailed my manager saying, I can deliver by the original deadline, but it won't be at the level of quality I know we're aiming for. If we push it just 2 days, I can guarantee it'll exceed expectations. Boom. Deadline extended. And suddenly, everyone realized that no exceptions was just a guideline, not an absolute truth. The lesson: reality doesn't operate on fixed rules. It operates on what people will accept. And the only way to understand what's truly possible is to test the boundaries. Sometimes you have to question authority, not to rebel, but to see if those non-negotiable rules actually have some wiggle room. Sometimes you have to tell a half-truth, not to deceive, but to unlock doors that blind obedience would keep shut. This isn't about being unethical. It's about being effective. Knowing when to flex the rules is a skill that can open doors, create opportunities, and even challenge outdated systems. And at the end of the day, this isn't just about bending ethics. It's about understanding how the world really works. Because reality isn't rigid, it's flexible. And those who know how to bend it, they're the ones who shape it. Number 3, exploit truth for gain. Truth is sacred, right? It's what we've been taught since childhood. Tell the truth, and everything will work out. But here's the uncomfortable reality. Truth, by itself, is powerless. It's not a magic key that unlocks success. It's just information. And like any tool, its effectiveness depends entirely on how you use it. The people who rise to the top, they don't just tell the truth. They exploit it strategically to gain an advantage. Now, before you get the wrong idea, I'm not saying you should manipulate or deceive people. Quite the opposite. I'm saying that truth, when positioned the right way, can be a weapon, a shield, and a bargaining chip, all at once. The trick is knowing which truth to highlight, when to reveal it, and how to frame it. Think about it. Have you ever noticed how two people can describe the same event completely differently, and yet both be telling the truth? That's because truth is flexible. It's all about presentation. We've all been in situations where we had to convince someone of something, whether it was a boss, a friend, or even ourselves. And let's be honest, blunt truth doesn't always work. Imagine walking into a job interview and saying, "I've never done this before, but I'll figure it out." That's honest. But is it effective? Nope. Instead, you say, "I thrive in new environments and learn fast. I've successfully adapted to challenges in every role I've had." That's also true, but it's truth positioned for maximum gain. I once used this in a negotiation. A client asked if I had experience in a specific editing style I'd never officially worked on. The honest, useless answer would have been no. Instead, I said, I've handled similar styles before, and my ability to adapt makes it easy for me to master new formats quickly. That was the truth, but shaped in a way that built confidence instead of doubt. I got the project, learned the style in a week, and delivered great results. Had I led with a weak, unpolished truth, I wouldn't have even gotten the chance. The point here isn't to fabricate or mislead. It's to understand that raw truth isn't always your best move. Framed truth is. It's about controlling the narrative instead of letting the narrative control you. Politicians, business leaders, and top performers all do this instinctively. They don't just throw out facts and hope for the best. They craft their message, choosing the truths that serve their goal while staying within the bounds of honesty. So the next time you feel like blunt honesty is holding you back, ask yourself, am I telling the truth in a way that benefits me? Because truth is powerful, but only if you're the one shaping it, not the one trapped by it. Number 4. Rewire beliefs by faking them. You don't actually need to believe something for it to shape your reality. You just need to act like you do, and your brain will catch up. Sounds weird, right? But think about it. How many times have you doubted yourself before doing something new, only to realize later that you became the kind of person who could do it? That's because belief follows action, not the other way around. The trick is to fake it, not in a deceptive way, but in a way that forces your mind to evolve. We've all been there. You want to be confident, but you feel insecure. You want to be disciplined, but you feel lazy. You want to be social, but you feel awkward. So you wait. You wait for confidence to magically appear, for discipline to kick in, for social ease to develop. But it never does, because belief doesn't come first. Action does. What if, instead of waiting to feel ready, you just started acting like the person you wanted to be? You'd be surprised at how fast your mind adapts. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance. When your actions don't match your beliefs, your brain gets uncomfortable and tries to align them. If you repeatedly act like a confident person, your brain doesn't want to feel like a liar, so it starts adjusting your beliefs to fit. That's why top athletes visualize their wins before they happen. That's why successful people walk into a room like they own it, even before they actually do. They create the belief through action, not the other way around. I remember when I started editing videos professionally. I wasn't some industry expert. I didn't have a decade of experience, but I decided to act like someone who knew what they were doing. I spoke with confidence, took on projects outside my comfort zone, and even dressed the part. At first, it felt like a stretch, but after a while, something weird happened. I actually became the person I was pretending to be. Clients started trusting me, and soon enough, I did have the skills and confidence I once faked. This isn't about lying to others. It's about tricking your own brain into leveling up. If you keep telling yourself, "I'm just not good at this," you'll reinforce that belief every day. But if you start acting as if you're already skilled, already confident, already capable, your mind will start believing it. The shift doesn't happen overnight, but it happens faster than you think. So, whatever it is that you've been waiting to believe about yourself, stop waiting. Start acting like it's already true. Walk like it. Talk like it. Make decisions like it. And soon enough, it won't be fake anymore. It'll be who you are. Number 5. Weaponize. Honesty. Honesty is supposed to be this noble, righteous thing, something we all strive for, right? But what if I told you that honesty isn't just about being a good person? It's a weapon, a tool you can use to gain control, build power, and shift the odds in your favor. Sounds a little dramatic? Maybe. But think about it. People expect lies. They expect sugarcoating, excuses, and polite half-truths. So when you hit them with raw, unfiltered honesty, it disarms them. It shifts the power dynamic instantly. We've all been in those situations where we feel cornered. A boss asks why a deadline was missed. A friend questions your absence at an event, or someone confronts you with something uncomfortable. The instinct? Deflect, soften the truth, make it sound better than it is. But here's the thing, most people aren't ready for blunt honesty. When you own the truth with confidence, it throws them off. It makes them respect you, and in many cases, it turns the situation in your favor. Why does this work? Simple. Honesty is rare. People are used to hearing excuses, not ownership. They're used to vague answers, not clarity. When you break that pattern and say, "Yeah, I missed the deadline because I mismanaged my time, but here's how I'll fix it," or "I didn't come because I just wasn't in the mood," you do something powerful. You eliminate their ability to argue. You control the conversation because there's nothing left to expose. And in that control, you gain respect. I learned this the hard way in a work setting. I once messed up a project, badly. The easy route. Blame miscommunication, say I was waiting on someone else, find some way to soften the hit. But I didn't. I walked in and said, "I underestimated the workload and dropped the ball. No excuses. I already have a plan to make sure it doesn't happen again." You know what happened? Instead of getting grilled, I got a nod. A simple, "All right, make sure it doesn't happen again." That was it. No long-winded lectures, no awkward tension, just respect for owning up and moving forward. This isn't about being brutally honest just for the sake of it. It's about using honesty strategically. When you tell the truth, you get to frame it on your terms. You remove the guessing game, the speculation, the room for manipulation. It doesn't mean being rude or reckless. It means being unapologetically clear. And in a world full of fluff and deception, that kind of clarity is a power move. So, the next time you're in a situation where you feel the urge to twist the truth even slightly, pause. Ask yourself, what happens if I just say it exactly as it is? You might be surprised at how much power that one simple shift gives you. Because honesty, when used right, isn't just a virtue, it's a weapon. Number 6, manufacture your own reality. Reality isn't as solid as you think. In fact, most of what we call reality is just a collection of beliefs, habits, and perspectives we've been conditioned to accept. But here's the secret. You don't have to accept it. You can manufacture your own reality, shape it, design it, and make it work for you instead of against you. Sounds a little far-fetched? Maybe. But think about it. Every successful person, every high achiever, every person who seems to bend the world to their will has mastered this skill. They don't just accept reality, they rewrite it. We've all felt stuck before, trapped in situations where it seems like nothing will change. Maybe you're in a job you don't like, dealing with people who drain you, or feeling like you're constantly playing by rules someone else set. And in those moments, it's easy to believe that this is just how things are. But here's the trick. Reality is only as real as you let it be. Your mind is constantly filtering information, deciding what's important, what's possible, and what's off limits. And you control that filter. Let's say you walk into a room believing you're not good enough. Every glance, every silence, every little moment feels like confirmation of that belief. Now, imagine walking into the same room convinced you belong there, convinced that people respect you. Suddenly, the same environment feels different. Did the world change? Number you did. You manufactured a different reality, and the world responded. I tested this idea once in a job interview I was not prepared for. Instead of overthinking, I told myself, I already got the job. This is just a formality. And I walked in with that energy, relaxed, confident, like I was already part of the team. The interviewers responded to it. Instead of interrogating me, they treated me like I belonged. And guess what? I got the job. Was I the most qualified? Probably not. But I controlled the narrative I was living in, and that made all the difference. This isn't about ignoring reality. It's about choosing which version of reality serves you best. It's about shifting your perspective in a way that unlocks opportunities instead of trapping you in limitations. Your brain is already shaping the way you see the world, whether you realize it or not. So why not take control? Why not manufacture a reality where you win? The next time you catch yourself feeling stuck, ask yourself, what if this isn't the only version of reality? Because the moment you start questioning it, you start changing it. And when you start changing it, you realize you were never really stuck at all. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this video gave you some fresh insight and made you think about truth in a whole new light. If you found this helpful or thought-provoking, don't forget to hit that like button. It really helps out. And if you want more content like this, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. If you know someone who could benefit from this perspective, share it with them. Let's spread the word and keep the conversation going. I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop a comment below and let me know how you see truth in your life, or maybe a personal experience where your perspective on truth has evolved. Let's keep this conversation going and build a community of open-minded thinkers. Remember, truth is fluid, it's adaptable, and it's here to help you grow. Keep evolving, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.